welcome to Marin Poets Live. I'm Neshama Franklin. I work at the Fairfax Library and I love poetry. After this program airs on Marin TV, it will appear on the Marin County Library website as part of a digital archive which also features biographies of the poets and links to our collection. For this month's program, we will feature Gini Savage. And welcome, Gini.
Thank you so much.
Here
so
we
pleased
are.
to be here.
Good. Well, I bet you have a Marin poem to start with.
I do have a Marin poem, but I need to just do a tiny spiel before.
I like the spiel.
Okay.
Give me the spiel.
I had a wonderful naturalist called David Lucas sharing my house for a few years. And he would bring birds and all sorts of taxidermy and put it in my freezer. And so it's a sort of different Marin poem. Mini roadkill. In my freezer sit a horned lark and a robin. Roadkill from Bryce or Zion, wrapped in newspaper funnels, displacing the ancient mango Ben & Jerry's. What if I said to my husband after un ballo, needing a midnight snack, "Darling, look in the freezer, you can warm up a little something in the micro." And he pulled out one of these creatures awaiting taxidermy, found and tapped his way into its incredible birdness of being, caught a mouthful of feathers, sautéed the lightest of entrails. I'm lucky to be alive. I would be lucky.
That's wonderful. Tell me about ballo.
Un ballo and maschera, I know.
Yeah. I mean, just...
My husband works for the opera, or used to work for the opera, I should say. Excuse me. And so we go to the opera. We love the opera.
And so that's your, code word.
Yes.
And it's beautiful. I mean, I got it, but I figured for everyone else.
I should have said after the opera.
It conveys. Another one, please.
Good. Out of mind. I call myself, but no one answers. No response. Perhaps I'm out in the garden picking sweet peas, as it's May. I keep on calling repeatedly. No lights are on. No one's at home. I said I'd call later. See, I'm dependable. There's some weight and heft to my words when I utter them. Not like a teenager's "call you later, Mom," with no intention of following through. I don't want to let myself down, so when I say I'll call, I do. I don't want me to take it personally if I don't answer, to think I don't matter, am easily forgotten, dispensable, out of sight, out of mind kind of thing. Maybe I've got my own number and I'm monitoring my calls. Or did I dial the wrong number on purpose and am choosing not to pick up, as it's not me? Whatever. After all, that's my option, having not much more to say at this juncture. At least it's not like one of those persistent sales pitch callers at dinner time from the Christian Appalachian Project in South Kentucky, or American Indian Relief Council from North Dakota. Can it at least be local? Or Citibank offering promotions I don't need, outsourced from Alabama or Mumbai. Curiously enough, we discuss what time it is and what the weather patterns are. Earthquake, typhoon, or tsunami risks, quite amicably. Nice young people, so polite. I'm sorry I am not about. Maybe I'm up in the attic, or sitting on the fence, trespassing, and ripping out my neighbor's ivy with a vengeance. Okay, I admit it's a bit OCD, even illegal possibly, but it was with the very best of intentions, and I was being very careful. They may sue me, they say, if I enter their backyard. They say I'm crazy. Aren't even the best neighbors the very pits? I mean, ivy. It'll grow back in 6 weeks anyway. It's tearing down their fence. There are bound to be rats lurking in its leaves. Don't they see I'm doing them a favor? It may cover us one of these days. Try me again in a little while. Maybe I'll be home by then.
That's grand. Grand and complex. It goes on so many levels. Let's have another.
At the cabin. My ears ache with openness, deep inside their dark, relaxed and wide, waiting for the right concentric sounds, shush of wind in pines, an occasional bird, a higher plane, a pine cone dropping, woodpecker rat-a-tat-tatting on the cabin siding, its beak echoing through the forest on warm metal, a red-winged blackbird's liquid needle song, or warning slight screech of hawk breaking this rare heaven of silence, bespoken, ineffable, inexpressible.
That's amazing, considering the past, the poem right before it, which was about absence, and this is about utter presence, which then ends in ineffable. So, whoo, you are doing tricks.
I'm
Wonderful.
afraid there are a lot of words.
That's what we want.
But my poem seems to be getting longer and longer, but I'll give you some small, short ones.
You do whatever you want. They're all wonderful.
This is called Sotto Voce. All night long, the emerald-headed bullfrog honks under his breath. Like a reticent goose, he carries on from June to July until 5 a.m., trumpeting loneliness across the pond, lust or bust, desperate to get a mate alone. A plaintive note on a mournful sound, like tissue paper wrapped round a child's comb. Mournful, comfort, it echoes my own.
Ah, that's sad and beautiful and ridiculous, which is a bullfrog in essence. Okay. You just read whatever you'd like.
All right.
We take the time we need.
Thank you for. I had some sort of vague order.
It's the order of the moment.
All right. Let me look at this. This is probably my Immortality poem. It was written as an assignment for a class I took with Dorianne Locks years ago. Ella was probably in that class. And it had to have one line which was just monosyllables, and it was an I want poem. And I showed it to a friend of mine at the time who was unknown in the opera. He just worked in the publicity department, and his name was Jake Heggie, who was a wonderful composer, and we were just becoming friends. And he said, "Show me some of your poems," and I showed them absolutely sort of innocently, not realizing that he might be interested in setting them to music. And he he absolutely loved Animal Passion. And I wrote, he said, let's do some songs. And so my claim to fame, I've taken a bow at the Lincoln Center with all the best opera singers, because I wrote this with Jake for a wonderful opera singer called Nicole Foland.
What an honor.
But this was just an assignment, and people took it literally as, and when it was first performed at my husband's tennis club, a couple came up to my husband and me and said, "If I were you, I'd keep her under lock and key." It was just,
Yes. Well, let's let you out.
So anyways,
Come on out.
This has been said to me. Animal Passion. Fierce as a bobcat spring with start-up speeds of 60 miles per hour, I want a lover to sweep me off my feet and slide me into the gutter without the niceties of small talk, roses, or champagne. I mean business. I want whiskey. I want to be swallowed whole. I want tiles to spring off walls when we enter hotel rooms or afternoon apartments. I won't pussyfoot around responsibility. Shoulds and oughts are out for good. I don't want to be a fat domestic cat. I want to be frantic, yowls and growls to sound like the lion house at feeding time. I don't give a damn who hears. No discreet eavesdropper's coughs behind thin partitions can stop us banging into things in our frenzy. Let the voyeur voir, and let the great cats come.
Whoa. Now, what was the assignment again? What were you supposed to do?
There was, I think Kim Adonisio had written a poem about the red dress, that was, and Dorian said, I want you to write a sort of a poem of want. And it had various sort of elements, but all I remember were the ones that I told you. And I mean, the inception for the poem was actually very awful, because a woman walking in the mountains had been taken by a mountain lion. Oh. And so there's so many things that yes. make you write.
Right, it's a form of medicine
yes.
to bring her back.
Yes, and so I brought it into this, and then, everybody loves this poem.
Thank you for
but
that.
But it was just an assignment, It was no literal.
Life is just an assignment.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
Let's have some more.
All right. Let me see. Well, I'll read you the last poem from Natural Selection, which was a set of 6 poems that I wrote with Jake for Nicole that were and I mean, people do theses on them. It's so extraordinary. It's called Joy Alone. The stunning silence of myself, from the hearts of forests, middle of mountains, a late low sun rests her friendly hand on the crowns of uncompromised trees. A fox streaks across the sand and scented sagebrush. A chatter of chipmunks scatters squirrels who stuff their briefcases for the winter. Blue-collar workers' long-term plans. The resiny crunch of orange pine needles, warm underfoot. A windfall of sweet cones. Joy alone. A startle of saplings, the power of trees, unraveling of rivers. Joy alone. Mm. And it was, the music makes it so wonderful that, I mean, even though I wrote it and it's like a child out in the world, it still makes me, moves me.
Oh,
and I can hear this music. I mean, I got a CD with it on it, if you want that. Okay, what did
I love when you went from the rapture of the description to the squirrels with their briefcases. Squirrels are so ridiculous.
Yes.
And you got them.
Glad, and I like them
yes.
being like businessmen. This is from Sharon Olds, who inspired me to write poetry. I began writing poetry when I was 50. I went to a class of Jackie Kudler's, a wonderful Jackie Kudler, also a poet. And she brought all these wonderful books in. And I just wanted to read this part from a poem of Sharon's from, I think, one of her first collections, A Sign of Saturn, called The Moment the Two Worlds Meet. That's the moment I always think of, when the slick whole body comes out of me, when they pull it out, not pull it, but steady it as it pushes forth, not catch it, but keep their hands under it as it pulses out. They are the first to touch it, and it shines. It glistens with the thick liquid on it. That's the moment. While it's sliding, the limbs compressed close to the body, the arms bent like a crab's rosy legs, the thighs closely packed plums in heavy syrup, the legs folded like the white wings of a chicken. That is the center of life, that moment when the juiced bluish sphere of the baby is sliding between the two worlds. Anyway, it goes on.
She is so powerful.
She is so wonderful and inspiring. And those poets at the Squaw Valley community of writers, where I've so lucky to have been, I got in sort of very early on when I was a very green poet, and I was totally scared, but ready to say anything. And there were Galway Cannell and Sharon Olds and Robert Haas and Brenda Hillman and Lucille Clifton and just, and you know, all
what
the
a pantheon.
Yes, all the people that I most admired, and and poor Galway, I can't bear that he has died, but that was such an extraordinary experience and life-changing.
Well, thanks for bringing us on that journey, that late journey that you took, and look how it's flowered.
Yes. Let me think.
Do you want to talk a little about the title Gripe Water, because it's so in your face?
Well, it is. It's because all children of a certain generation were brought up on gripe water. It was practically, 100% alcohol.
Yes.
And so, I mean, I swore by Woodward's gripe water, not knowing any better.
So,
and it was really because I loved
of course,
I loved that.
But are the poems gripe water for your soul?
Yes.
Yes, I thought so.
And it also, because people don't quite understand, it also has the gripe.
Right, and so British.
Yes, and so British, exactly.
Yes. Well, when did you come here?
I came here. Well, I first came as a child during the war. I was evacuated here. And so I learned to speak here, so that's why I have such an American accent. When I go back to England, they take me for an American. And I think I'm completely English sounding.
Yes.
But, and then I came back in 1976 when my husband came to work here. And so we have a completely American son, our last son. And it was for years I couldn't write at all because it was like a different idiom, even though I'd known it, and I just felt sort of inhibited, and until I sort of went to a class of Jackie Kudler's, who was so.
Well, those are very juicy classes. They just evoke what's happening, the stuff inside you, and it bops all around you. And what can you do but sing your own song?
Yes,
so
and then it all came out.
That's great.
I mean, what actually brought the first before Sharon was we were on a picnic and with acquaintances, and the husband was just nagging the wife and saying, "Put this there, put that there, do this." And I just got so seethingly angry at how this poor wife was being treated that I wrote this furious poem. I don't even know where it is now.
Well, it's wonderful to have a name like Savage.
Yes, exactly. It does help.
Okay, so we have maybe 8 minutes. So just choose what you'd like. It can be long. It can be whatever you want.
All right.
But I want more of it, whatever it is.
Oh, well, that's kind. Right. Well, poets are obsessed with words, and my poems always come. I don't sort of sit in front of a blank page sort of waiting for a poem. They come with fury and obsession, and this came. Mothers-in-law. My breasts now sit in judgment, dusty pink summer puddings, uneventful as blancmanges, clammy against the armpits, a pair of disapproving parents, ponderous, perilous, jejune in their assessments, There's no getting away from them. They're like realtors. They attract no fondling now. In their heyday, they collected crowds. Men stepped off curbs for them. Lovers perched twin bunches of cherries over their smug, jutting promontories, and they remained nonchalantly slung, defying gravity. With them in tow, they would flip me over if I tried to escape. These cumbersome suitcases would topple me in my tracks. Straight-jacketed, tagging along, two whiny, ubiquitous kid sisters. The real me doesn't lollop. She lopes, thin and sportif, a queen of the night. No Valkyrie ride for her leitmotif. I sit in a chaise longue in the shade of a suitably broad-brimmed straw hat, longing to lose them, shielding them from the stroke of sun's carcinogenic rays. So I won't smother. I move these mothers off to one side to swim breaststroke. Plump and indolent, swollen as puppies, their loose-skinned moon faces incline me to choke. Passive, chocoholic, peevish, bucolic, they disapprove of dunking and décolleté, smoking, sea bathing, or archery, loathe Amundsen's, and despise jogging, my couch potato-y, superannuated, fatty muscles. Yet I'm still attached to them, wouldn't be half the woman without them, wouldn't go anywhere if they didn't point the way. They like coming into play after christenings, floating in Hawaiian Best Western pools, consoling grandchildren in tented moo-moos. They could be used as weapons of suffocation, or for transports to carry booty, tugboats to ferry the British over to Ostend in for dirty weekends, or love football matches and booze-ups. Hit them, they don't fight back. This pathologically unhurried duo of jiggling, anemic highway patrolmen. This grandmotherly motorcade in tight, dogged formation, keeping abreast. Ah, my dairy queens.
I have never heard anything like that in my life, and my head is spinning with images. Now, the title of it is
Mothers-in-law.
Mothers-in-law. Oh, it's just astonishing and beautiful. Right. So let's have a short poem.
All right. My daughter died 7 years, 8 months, and 7 days ago. This is called Unreason. Used to think there was a divine plan. Your children outlived you. No one had their limbs chopped off or their liver pecked out on a cliff for punishment like Prometheus. And children suffered for a reason. Move away from the car, lady. Put the kettle on. Lapsang Souchong. We were all Mother Teresas under the skin. Not for attention, not for self-esteem. Though not heroic or famous enough to make the cover of a magazine, we produced our good, told our beads in the dark. Giovanni says she knows what it feels like to be a sofa. I can relate to that. Half of me died when you did. Would you like a cup of tea to warm your cockles, my lovely mum? No one holds a candle to you, black or blue. I used to think there was a divine plan, that your children outlived you.
That's astonishing, and I'm so glad that you shared it, because out of impossibility comes words that have something in them that consoles us, even if they're bitter and sad words. You know, it's the wonder of poetry.
Yes, it is.
So I think with that deep, plangent note, you've just taken us all over the map. But I'd love
Are you
to end.
sure you're finished?
No, I'd love to end on that because it needs
certainly.
to permeate
well, that's
through
what
us.
I wanted to end
And
on that.
so thank you so much, Gini Savage, for being here.
Well, thank you so much, Neshama. I think it's wonderful that you're doing this for poets when you aren't even a poet yourself is so incredible.
Who else would do it?
I know, exactly.
Thank you again.
Thank you so much.